This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5, left in the dark for months. The lights are out along a major road that happens to be part of the Red Line route. Neighbors are worried, so we take their concerns to the top.
And the storm may have weakened, but Dorian is still leaving behind a trail of destruction. Now, a major worry for the eastern seaboard is that the amount of rain that the hurricane could leave behind as it methodically makes its way up the Atlantic. Well, Dorian is on the move, but it's still moving very slowly in the Atlantic this morning. And right now, it is dangerously close to Florida.
As people who live in the Sunshine State, Georgia, and the Carolinas get ready for Dorian's rain, those who live in the Bahamas are beginning to dig out from the destruction Dorian left when it was still a Category 5 storm. ABC's Serena Marshall joins us live this morning in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Serena.
Good morning. Here in north central Florida, conditions really deteriorated overnight with more rain. Those wind gusts can be quite intense. Evacuation orders remain in effect from here all the way up to the Outer Banks. Officials saying don't risk it.
Hurricane Dorian turning its fury on Florida, already knocking out power to thousands.
Right now you can see it just in front of this light here how bad the conditions are getting.
Hammering the East Coast with wind gusts nearing 60 miles per hour. In the Bahamas, we're getting our first look at the scope of the disaster and utter destruction Dorian caused. After stalling, spinning over these islands for more than 48 hours.
Well, going through it was terrifying. We're happy to be alive, glad that my family is safe.
Homes left splintered, water engulfing the island. See, this is what Grand Bahama Island looked like before, then after Dorian. Much of the island now underwater. The Coast Guard helping out, leading search and rescue efforts. The death toll now at 7 and expected to climb. And more than 60,000 people will be in need of food and clean water. Stateside, up and down the coast, evacuation orders remain.
This is a very serious storm, and a western shift, that is towards land, of just a few miles could bring enormous damage.
The threat of storm surge in low-lying Charleston, South Carolina, had hospital workers racing to move as many patients as they can to higher ground. While in Savannah, Georgia, families trying to follow officials' orders, waiting in bus lines to get out.
Well, I don't have a vehicle and I don't have the finance to go out of town.
Not everyone, though, is following those evacuation orders as Hurricane Dorian was downgraded to a Category 2, some choosing instead to try and ride it out. But officials warn in cases of flooding and storm surge, first responders may not be able to make it to help evacuate you. Live in New Smyrna Beach, Serena Marshall, ABC News. Back to you.
Serena, thank you. Back here at home, though, we are preparing for a nice day in the forecast.
You know, not only a nice day, the rest of the week is just going to be absolutely beautiful. So you can start making those outdoor plans now. As you walk out the door here this morning, grab the sunglasses. You will need those throughout the entire day once the sun comes up. And some of you may want a light jacket, but temperatures are actually running a little bit warmer this morning than they have been. But we're still in the process of bringing in the more comfortable air mass. So you notice the temperatures across the state are still in the 70s from Muncie to Indianapolis to Bloomington, 66 in Lafayette, but now down to 64 in Logansport. So that's where the cooler air is right now, and it will start to progress further and further south as we go throughout the morning hours. So the most uncomfortable part of the day is going to be what's happening right now with mainly clear skies. So as we work our way throughout the day today, 75 degrees with the humidity lowering at the noon hour, then high temperatures today lead to a beautiful afternoon right around 77 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look at some drive times right now as you're heading southbound on I-69 through Hamilton County. A 13-minute drive from State Road 13 down to I-465. No delays there on the southbound side. A little bit of construction, though, in the northbound lane, so just be aware of that as you're heading through that area. Another spot we have construction is over here on the northwest side of town. Let's take a live look from our NDOT traffic camera at I-65 and Lafayette Road. The construction crews right now are working in the 2 right lanes. Traffic gets moved over to that 1 left lane, but it's still pretty quiet this morning, so there there are no delays. We'll keep a close eye out for any crashes or delays this morning and keep you updated. Well, out in Boone County this morning, a Good Samaritan is being called a hero for helping to stop a suspect in a hit and run. The sheriff's office says that a car hit 5 people walking near Wall Street and Maple Street in the town of Advance last night. That's about 40 miles northwest of Indianapolis. A baby and 2 toddlers were among the people who were injured there. The sheriff's office says the driver tried to keep going, but the person who heard the crash chased the car, jumped in the driver's side window, shut the car off, and then kept the keys until deputies arrived. Wow. Investigators tell us the driver was intoxicated at the time of the crash. Formal charges are expected later today.
It's horribly dark. I can't see anywhere where I'm going when I get home, get out of the car.
Well, you can't see much in that video behind us here, and that's because the street lights have been out on a major road all the way to Broad Ripple.
That area is also right along the new Indigo Red Line route. Our Stephanie Wade is asking the city and utility company why neighbors have been left in the dark for months.
Well, you can't see in the daylight, but these streetlights along College Avenue are out between 38th and 42nd Street. A neighbor tells us they've been out for a few months, and he can't seem to get Indianapolis Power and Light to turn them back on.
We have lights on, and then poof, one day the lights are gone, and then we're left out in the dark, literally and figuratively, as to what's going on.
Things get a little dark around this stretch of College Avenue. Jared Hall, like some of his other neighbors, have reached out to Indianapolis Power and Light, but have been met with some confusing responses. First, they told him the lights were out for red line construction, saying, quote, they needed to be disconnected temporarily for safety and construction reasons. Makes sense. Then, a month later and construction now complete, they told him they, 1, either weren't notified of its completion, 2, the city could have decided not to restore them, or 3, there could be underground damage they weren't aware of. No matter the excuse, Hall just wants to be able to see and walk around safely at night.
That's all I want. I just put the lights back on so it's safer. You know, I've got a family, 3 kids, and my wife comes out at night too sometimes. And everybody around us, you know, we should feel safe out here and, you know, in our homes, in our neighborhood where we live.
Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
IPL tells us they are meeting with Redline contractors to develop next steps to repair the cables underground and turn the lights back on quickly. Now, if you're ever concerned about your safety or the safety of your neighborhood and you can't get answers, reach out to us. You can do that by emailing us at workingforyou@rtv6.com.
It's 5:07. People who live at a Westside mobile home park are getting much needed help after a story first uncovered by RTV6. The 70 families who own their trailers inside this I-70 mobile home park are now being forced from their homes. Landowners sent a notice saying the park's parent company didn't want to pay for the $100,000 in upgrades to the park's water pipes. Instead, the water will be shut off and the residents will have to find a new place to live by October 15th. After we aired their story, several organizations stepped up to help those residents.
Oftentimes, folks like this feel like they don't have a voice, and so their story was shared, and they were given some power in that, because then other people were able to respond to a need and try to help. And had we not known that this existed, you know, we wouldn't have known that they needed help.
Representative Moed says that he's looking at legislation that would offer more protections for mobile home owners in our state.
Nestle is shutting down a plant in Indianapolis, leaving dozens of people out of work. The company notified the state this week that it will be closing its facility on Keystone Avenue later this year. 172 people will lose their jobs. The company says it's reorganizing and will no longer be using the warehouse to store deliveries. Job cuts are expected to begin November 1st and continue through the end of the year. Nestle says its plant in Anderson is not affected by these changes. At 5:08, packing lunches and rushing kids to the bus stop. You might be getting ready to do that right about now.
Yeah, but we can tell you some families are getting their kids ready for school without even leaving their house. Our own Erin Lish spoke to one family in Muncie who has nothing but good things to say about virtual schools. She joins us live this morning with more. Erin, good morning.
Good morning. So kids can do all their schoolwork either on the desktop or even on the laptop as long as they have Wi-Fi. And what's great about this is that it's free. So the student that we talked to is 15-year-old Alicia Gregory, and she is part of the Indiana Digital Learning School by K-12. All of her material are provided to her for free since this is a public school. But not everything is on the computer. There's also book work as well. They work on the core classes as well as a variety of those different electives out there. And students will check in with their teachers and really go over everything they've learned in class. Her sister actually put Alicia in virtual school after their loss of their mother and says this path has kept her education on track.
With her being in K-12, I feel like that's what's kept her great grades, is because she's able to focus.
I don't necessarily have best transportation to an actual public school, so being able to just bring my computer wherever I go, it definitely helps a lot more.
Alicia has figured out through school that she wants to be a pharmaceutical scientist and is planning to graduate early because of going to virtual school. And what's also really nice is they actually plan events for these students to go out and socialize. They'll have those different outings as well as field trips. And we're going to actually hear from Alicia a little bit more in the next half hour. But for now, back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Aaron. The time now is 5:10 on this Wednesday morning as you walk out the door and start to get your middle half of the week going. You're walking out to still a little bit of humidity that is out there and a little bit of cloud cover as the cold front is still in the process of working its way through. But we'll see more and more sunshine soon as the sun comes up a little after 7 o'clock, and temperatures will fall from where they are right now back down into the 60s. So we'll actually go down a couple degrees as we start to bring in the more refreshing air mass across the area. So we had a few storms yesterday evening as expected. They have moved out and skies are partly cloudy currently. And you notice this little broken band of cloud cover here. That is the cold front that is working its way now through southern Indiana. We're going to bring in those northerly winds. That's a nice refreshing air mass for us. So the day gets more and more comfortable as it goes on. Highs today near 80 in southern locations, mid 70s to the north. We'll talk about the rest of the work week for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. A major move by the biggest retailer in the country. We'll show you why the company decided to be out of ammunition effective immediately.
And you just never know where a new best friend will come from. Coming up, how a massive storm led to the pitter-patter of new feet in a Florida family's home.
And here's a live look right now at traffic where we have construction on the northwest side, I-65 here in Lafayette Road. The southbound side of the interstate, it's down to one left lane. So use caution as you head through that area and watch for crews working. It's 5:12. We'll be right back after this short break.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 5:15, and we want to talk about a story that's impacting some major retailers here. A bold move from the largest retailer, Walmart, announcing it will no longer sell ammunition for handguns and assault-style rifles.
Walmart also says it will ask customers not to openly carry firearms into its stores, even in places where open carry is legal. The announcement was made 1 month to the day after 22 people were killed in a mass shooting at the Walmart in El Paso, Texas. The National Rifle Association called Walmart's decision, quote, shameful, but advocates for gun laws praised the company.
I think the steps they're taking really show the need for corporate America to step up and make a difference.
Walmart says it will only sell ammo for hunting rifles and shotguns from now on. The company stopped selling assault-style rifles in 2015.
Police now believe they know how the man who carried out the latest mass shooting in Odessa, Texas, got his gun. ABC News is reporting that Seth Ator got around the federal background check law by getting an AR-15 style rifle in a private sale. Gun groups like the NRA have long fought requiring background checks for private sales. The House passed a bill closing that loophole back in February. So far, the Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has not put this on the Senate's calendar.
Now to overseas in Britain, defiant lawmakers are now moving to ban its weakened prime minister from pursuing a departure from the European Union without a deal to keep its economy stabilized. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party lost its working majority when one of its members left the party while Johnson was speaking on the floor of the House of Commons. In retaliation, Johnson Johnson is now calling for early elections next month, but right now that's unlikely because 2/3 of Parliament would have to approve those elections. The deadline for Britain to leave the EU is October 31st.
At 5:17, sometimes good things come from acts of Mother Nature that are destructive, such as Hurricane Dorian. Officer Michael Jean with the police department in Fort Pierce, Florida, got a call from a woman who owned a pit bull puppy. The puppy was too young to be left in a shelter cage with the storm approaching. The officer said he would help, but then he took a liking to the pup. He showed his wife and son the dog in a FaceTime chat, and they decided to take the dog home and make him part of the family. The puppy's new name, appropriately, is Dory, and so cute there. All right, we do want to get a check of Dorian right now in the track as it's inching closer to Florida, Todd.
Yeah, here is the latest update that just came in at the top of the hour. You can see the storm system obviously spinning a lot more rugged than it looked like just 24 hours ago. It is officially now 90 miles just to the east of Daytona Beach with winds sustained at 105 miles per hour. So those winds, the strongest, are going to be just offshore, but obviously lots of impacts along the Florida coast and probably Georgia coast now as some of those outer bands head there with some heavy rain, some coastal flooding. As far as the winds go, probably won't see a whole lot in the way of wind damage across Florida. It's going to be more the flooding, the beach erosion that I think we'll be talking about in the coming days. The track is going to take it towards Charleston, and then it's going to start to curve there and just go right along the coast, probably clipping the outer banks of North Carolina as we get into Friday as a Category 1 storm. And then it's finally going to race out into the open Atlantic, and we will no longer be talking about Dorian once the weekend rolls around. But obviously lots of issues still now in northern portions of Florida. They have dropped the hurricane watches and warnings that were in effect for South Florida, so you should be okay to get back down there. Humidity drops throughout the day today. I think that's the big thing you'll take from this forecast throughout the day today, as the humidity will be lowering as the day goes on. It becomes sunny, it becomes mild, and the weekend is going to be a pretty nice one here as well. 72 degrees. One way you can tell that the front is now through Indianapolis, the winds have shifted. Yesterday out of the south, you now see that they're out of the west-northwest, and that northwesterly wind is what's going to drive the humidity down. And you can see the difference where the front has made its way through or is in the process of going through. Still 70s to the north, 60s to the north, 70s down to the south. So here comes the front that went through with that band of cloud cover. Really didn't materialize with the storms yesterday, which is always a good thing. And now this front will continue to make its south and eastward trek, leaving us with what will be a beautiful day across the area. And into the evening hours, will cool off very, very quickly once the sun sets at 8:12 with temperatures that will be in the 60s. So it becomes very, very comfortable. And we're really just going to repeat this process over again in the coming days. Tomorrow morning, going down into the low 50s to the north. Great sleeping weather, about 55 the overnight low in Indianapolis, and give those air conditioners a break. And as we look ahead in this forecast, Thursday, Friday, and then into the weekend, we're talking about high temperatures that will be in the 70s, low temperatures that will be in the 50s. And as far as rain, really don't have a whole lot in this forecast. It's not until late Sunday that we bring in the chance of a few scattered storms. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right here on the northwest side of town. This is I-65 and Lafayette Road. It looks like crews are starting to pull back some of that construction here in the southbound lanes. That is good news. Traffic is still moving along just fine in both directions, so we'll keep you updated on that progress. Let's take a look right now at some drive times, planning out your commute coming in from the south side of town. Drivers who take State Road 37 northbound, it's a 12-minute drive from State Road 144 down in Johnson and Morgan County areas up to I-465. The ramps there at Harding Street, traffic is traveling smoothly at this time. And then over here, Southport Road to I-70 at the North Split, you can expect a 10-minute commute, so no crashes or issues there to slow you down.
A big scare for the Pacers. Miles Turner and Team USA at basketball's World Cup. The U.S. taking on Turkey, and Turkey almost pulled off a major upset. Jason Tatum had to make a pair of free throws near the end of regulation to force overtime. Then at the end of overtime, Chris Middleton made a pair of foul shots to give the U.S. the lead. Turkey would miss a three-pointer at the buzzer, and the U.S. escapes with a 93-92 win. That guarantees the USA a spot in the next round.
Well, could it be the end of people with coffee orders that are almost as long as an RTV6 newscast? Up next, a new rule at Starbucks that's going to cut down on the fun some people have with the baristas there. Time right now, 5:21. We'll be right back.
Store, Ashley Home Store. This is home.
I'd like to get a large half-calf scalded almond milk latte, 4 pumps vanilla, 1 pump cinnamon with an extra half shot, sweetened with agave nectar at 167 degrees with room for cream.
We all know those people, right? Well, Starbucks says it is putting an end to at least some of those ridiculously long coffee orders that might keep you in line longer. If you use the Starbucks app to order a coffee, it now limits you to only 12 modifications to the same drink. That means you can only add a pump of caramel syrup 12 times or an espresso shot 12 times. I don't know anyone who needs 12 espresso shots. Starbucks says it will help create a more consistent experience and allow our partners to best craft the customized beverage for our customers. Now, if you would like to make long and silly coffee orders, Starbucks says you can still do that in person.
I don't drink coffee, so I know nothing about this world.
I have my particular order that I like. I do it through the app because it's just easy. That way it's in there, it's done.
Easy for them to read.
You don't have to list it off and say, oh no, just a splash of almond milk. You know, So.
Interesting.
I'm with Lauren.
I'm like, this is all new to me.
If I do go in there, I'll just like, just give me the latte.
I just think
no special requests. All right, outside right now. Still a little bit of humidity lingering around as the front's still in the process of working its way through. So the humidity will actually drop as the day goes on. So it's going to get more comfortable, say, at 8 a.m. compared to it is right now if you're walking out the door. You will notice that difference. The noon hour, we're up to 73 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Should be very, very nice. And then eventually high temperatures here this afternoon range from about 75 to the north in Peru, 77 here in Indy, with highs eventually near 80 degrees in southern locations.
Todd, thanks. She's still missing after more than 3 days. Next on Good Morning Indiana, what we know about the search for a 10-year-old girl and a major change to that investigation.
And for some Hoosiers, virtual schools are the way to go to class. Coming up, an in-depth look at the concept and what it means for the future job prospects of its students. We share it with you on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Right now at 5:30, authorities in Grant County continue to search for a missing 10-year-old girl.
This morning, why state police are now taking over the investigation. Plus, gyms with child care can be attractive to parents.
Yeah, but are they safe for your child? Call 6 Investigates is uncovering the state law loophole that says they don't have to follow all those state guidelines. But first, here at 5:30, we do want to get a check of that forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day outside, Todd, and it's not just today that people will enjoy.
Yeah, you know, that's the best news about it. We're going to carry this all the way into the weekend, and as we get into the weekend, a lot of college, a lot of high school games, and all those are going to look great, whether they're soccer games and or football games. This morning, as you walk out the door, grab the sunglasses. Obviously, you don't need them right now, with it still being dark out. Sunrise not until a little after 7 o'clock this morning, but you will need those throughout the day, and your outdoor workout is good to go, whether it's this morning and or this evening. You do not need the jacket. Temperatures are still hovering in the 60s and 70s this morning with skies that are clear, and the front is still working its way through the area. And you can see the cooler air trying to work its way south. We're in the 60s to the north compared to the low 70s down to the south. So that's why you don't need the jacket this morning. I think it's a different story tomorrow morning when we're in the 50s. So here's your forecast from start to finish throughout the day today. Enjoy the mostly sunny skies, mid-70s by the noon hour with high temperatures right around 77 degrees. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a live look over on the east side, I-70 here in Post Road. Traffic's moving along up to speed both eastbound and westbound. Let's take a look at your drive time from this area heading into downtown on our Traffic Now map. If you start at Post Road and you head into the North Split area on our traffic map, looking at the drive times here, you can see it's just a 10-minute drive. No delays there for your morning commute. So let's travel over to I-70 and the Ronald Reagan Parkway. This is out near the airport. A live look from our INDOT traffic camera in that area. Traffic is moving along up to speed in both directions. No crashes right now around the metro area to slow you down.
We continue to track Hurricane Dorian this morning as it moves dangerously close to Florida. The Sunshine State is feeling the first effects of Dorian as the slow-moving storm starts up the East Coast. This picture shows an outer band from Dorian's looming over St. Augustine. After Florida, Dorian is expected to bring heavy rain and storm surge to Georgia and the Carolinas over the next several days. This morning, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is urging everyone to stay vigilant.
We need people to evacuate. I know it's been pretty down there today. I know the track is showing it not hitting Georgia, but I think our modeling will show how close it is.
In the Bahamas, Dorian is being blamed for at least 7 deaths. We'll have more on the damage there coming up in about 10 minutes.
At 5:32, Indiana State Police say they are now handling the investigation into the disappearance of a 10-year-old girl from Gas City. Skylee Carmack has been missing since Saturday afternoon. She's 5 feet tall, weighs around 100 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. Police say she was last seen wearing a black shirt with the characters Mario and Luigi on it, and she was also wearing black pants. If you have any information on where Skylee Carmack might be this morning, please call police.
The search for a missing boater in the White River near Martinsville will continue at 8 o'clock this morning. Authorities say 32-year-old Antonio Sanchez Maldonado and 6 other family members were thrown into the river when their boat capsized. 4 others died, including a 6-year-old. DNR officials say it's important to remember Indiana's waterways can be deceiving. They say what appears to be slow-moving water on the surface can actually have strong currents underneath.
Well, police say they arrested a dump truck driver accused of causing an 11-car pileup out in Hendricks County. Avon police say the crash killed 2 people and hurt at least 3 others. The crash happened on US 36 near County Road 625 East around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. An Avon Community School bus was also involved in the crash, but district officials say no students were on board. This morning, the dump truck driver faces reckless homicide charges. The search for the truck's U.S. Department of Transportation number shows its owner, North American Environmental Services, has had no previous crashes.
One person is recovering after a car came crashing into a restaurant on the city's west side. According to the Indianapolis Fire Department, the wreck happened after a driver led police on a chase. IFD crews were called to Harsey's restaurant on Georgetown Road near 34th Street just before 6 yesterday afternoon. They say a passenger in the car was taken into custody, but the driver ran away from the scene. We're continuing to work to learn details about the man injured.
At 5:34, some gyms offer a major perk for parents, childcare. But is it safe? A woman is sharing her concerns with RTV6. Katie Lyman says she worked at the kids club at the LA Fitness on Southport Road. She says at one point she watched 17 children by herself. She also snapped pictures of broken toys, hair, and what she calls dirty conditions. Katie says she took her concerns to the gym management several times, but says that not much changed.
I knew right off the bat something was just a little off. Within the first couple of days, I had kids just running around crazy, being violent. There weren't any specific rules. We had food and drink, mix-ups with cups and binkies.
Katie says she was fired after 2.5 weeks on the job. Call 6 Investigates left a business card at the LA Fitness Southport Road location and called and emailed the company's media relations office. Well, parents should know that Indiana Family and Social Services Administration says that child cares are exempt if they care for children for less than 4 hours per day and not in consecutive days. That means gym daycares are not inspected by the state, and they do not have to follow health and safety regulations like child to staff ratios, CPR, and safe sleep training. At 5:36, back to school shopping, packing lunches, getting on the bus on time. It's a thing of the past for some kids and parents.
Students are heading to their computers for virtual school, and our Aaron Lish is live this morning with how this is getting students classroom to career ready. And Aaron, you have a success story from one family in Muncie.
I do. You know, life will throw you different curveballs, and for one teen, she's overcoming all of her obstacles by hopping on her computer and going to online schooling.
Being able to just bring my computer wherever I go, it definitely helps a lot more.
15-year-old Alicia Gregory goes to school online every day through K-12's Indiana Digital Learning School. Alicia meets with her teachers virtually to go over the material of every class.
They always make sure you participate, that way you were learning.
After her mother passed away from MS, transportation became an issue, and she couldn't handle the emotional toll of going to a brick and mortar school.
Having to go to public school was definitely going to be a chore to me because it's just something that I wasn't up to.
She's currently taking 7 courses and now on track to graduate a year early, which her sister says is thanks to virtual school.
With her being in K-12, I feel like that's what's kept her great grades.
All of her textbooks and materials for school to complete her courses are free, which is just one aspect that has helped not only Alicia, but her family.
For anybody who is in a struggling family, whether it be financially or medically, this is definitely something that you should put your child in.
Through virtual school, Alicia is figuring out her future career path, which she believes would make her mother proud.
Now I know that I specifically want to be a pharmaceutical scientist, and I think that she would think that it's super cool that her daughter really wanted to.
An amazing story there, and a reminder again, this is public school, so it is tuition free. And what's nice is they do allow those students to go on outings as well as field trips to keep those students socializing with one another. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you so much. Well, the iLearn test scores are scheduled to be released to the public a little later today, and lawmakers learned that the scores are going to be low. Schools have already received their scores this past spring, and it was the first time for students taking the iLearn test. State leaders say the drop in scores was expected. The same thing reportedly happened with I-STEP changes 5 years ago. Governor Eric Holcomb says he does not want teacher evaluations or school letter grades to be impacted by those low scores. The time right now is 5:38 on our Wednesday. It is finally the month of September, Todd, and it's going to start feeling a little bit nicer out there.
Yeah, you know, as we go throughout the course of the month, we're going to see the average temperature drop really, really quick. I'll show you that in just a second as the kids get off to school here this morning. About 68 degrees with the partly cloudy skies once the sun comes up. And then this evening when they come home, or this afternoon, temperatures will be in the mid-70s with skies that'll be mostly sunny. So I always like to recap the entire month at the beginning of the month for you. I know we're a few days in, but with the holiday. So at the start of the month, a couple days ago, our average high is about 83 degrees. This month, we really start to lose the high temperature. By the end of the month, the average high is only 72. So we lose 11 degrees off our average high from the start to finish throughout the month. Compared to last month, it was basically steady. So we're starting the downward turn as far as temperatures go. Our average rainfall is about 3.12 inches for the month, and that's not one of our wettest months, but it's a decent amount of rainfall. So this is the month we start to push towards fall, obviously, with these cooler temperatures starting to work in.
Todd, thank you. More than 90 drivers will take to the dirt track out at IMS for the BC 39 race. But one driver says the pressure to perform well at the track is present from the moment you take to the track.
Plus, Hurricane Dorian continues to threaten the eastern seaboard. This morning, how government officials are using Waffle House to monitor conditions. It's 5:40. We'll be right back.
Life cereal. Mikey likes it.
A 14-year-old in Alabama reportedly telling police he shot and killed all 5 members of his family. The Limestone County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened Monday night in Elkmont near the Tennessee state line. The victims include his father, stepmother, and 3 siblings ages 6, 5, and 6 months. Police say the 14-year-old called 911 and initially said he was in the basement when he heard shots, but later he admitted to the shootings. The teen is charged with 5 counts of juvenile murder. He could eventually be charged as an adult.
At 5:44, 7 middle school students faced charges this morning for allegedly putting bodily fluids in food being served to teachers. The incident happened in May during a cooking contest. Prosecutors say the suspects are all 14-year-old boys. They're being accused of putting the bodily fluids on crepes and in barbecue sauce that they prepared for class. The teachers ate the food without knowing what happened. Assault charges were filed on Tuesday. An attorney representing the 4 students in Ohio said that the incident was a prank. The 8th graders will face a judge in the coming weeks.
Some good health news for New York. Officials say the measles outbreak there is over. Mayor Bill de Blasio and the city's health commissioner announced the end of an outbreak, sickening more than 650 people since last October. Those measles infections led to more than 50 hospitalizations. No new cases have been reported since mid-July. 95% of the measles patients in New York were either not vaccinated at all, vaccinated completely, or did not know their vaccination status.
Now to new video from above the Bahamas showing this total devastation and what officials are calling a humanitarian disaster. Government officials there say that the areas first responders still cannot reach, and there's also more than 60,000 residents that will need access to food and clean water. The Prime Minister for the Bahamas says more police are heading to Abaco to help fend off the looting and the violence there. The Prime Minister says Dorian is the most powerful storm to ever hit the island nation.
FEMA depends on Waffle House to gauge how dangerous conditions are during hurricanes. It's called the Waffle House Index. It has 3 levels. If you see a Waffle House that's open and has a full menu, the area is in the clear. If it has a limited menu, people should probably start making safety plans. That means the restaurant either has no power or is running on a generator. And if it's closed, there's likely severe flooding or damage in the area, and people should get to safety.
We may have to shut some restaurants down. It's a little tough for us because all of our restaurants are 24/7. We don't know how to turn things off. So we have to really shut the restaurant down in an orderly fashion.
Waffle House has a storm center outside of Atlanta. That's where the company tracks the storm and sends out information to its restaurants. But it also has people on the ground looking at conditions. Those people are the ones who have a more accurate view of what's happening and help decide when restaurants should close. Now, Todd, don't go leaving us for a job with Waffle House just because you think you're going to get a free breakfast out of it or something.
Things you never know existed, right? Waffle House with a team on the ground checking out the weather. All right, here is the latest on Dorian. The center is offshore by 90 miles just to the east of Daytona Beach. This is the satellite view. I'll take the clouds off and throw on the radar, and you can see the outer bands really lashing now the east coast of Florida, really from, say, West Palm Beach all the way up towards the Jacksonville area. And the storm system is just going to continue to head towards Charleston and then curve out. So the biggest issue would be heavy rainfall, some wind. The strongest winds, hurricane force winds, should stay out over the open Atlantic, but there'll be a lot of coastal flooding, a lot of beach erosion, unfortunately, as well. Closer to home, we have a beautiful day for you. We're in the process of dropping the humidity. So if you walk out the door right now, it's still a little on the muggy side. If you walk out the door at 8, 9 o'clock, the humidity is going to be a lot lower, and we'll have plenty of sunshine in the forecast. So it becomes more and more comfortable as the day goes on. And really, it's a beautiful afternoon for us with mostly sunny skies, 76 degrees by the time we get to 2 p.m. And then high temperatures today should level off right around 77 degrees during the afternoon hours. So try to get outside at some point. If you can't today, we have a couple more days heading our way with really nice weather as well, and that is the good news. So this little band of cloud cover you see here, that is the front that went through. It's still lingering in southern locations. That's why it's a little cooler to the north compared to southern locations. And as far as those storms go, they didn't really materialize yesterday. I know there were a couple of them throughout the early afternoon hours, but with the passage of the front and going through during the nighttime hours, we didn't really get those strong storms that were potentially possible, and that's always a good thing, and that front will continue to push down to the south. If you have plans this evening, you're fine. Overnight tonight, you can turn off the air condition. Just nice and mild for you, 52 to about 58 degrees. With low humidity, it's going to feel really nice out there. And as we look ahead to the day tomorrow, it's another great one from start to finish. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures into the mid to upper 70s. The humidity is low throughout the day tomorrow, and that's probably the biggest difference. Tomorrow we start off with humidity already low and just keep it low throughout the entire day. Today we're in the process of working in the lower humidity. Then here's your forecast going forward. As we get into Friday and Saturday, we keep the sunshine. Each one of these days features low temperatures that will be down in the 50s. And as far as our next chance of rain goes, it's probably not until Sunday that we bring in the chance of a few isolated storms here across the area. So look at all this sunshine, some spotty storms on Sunday. It's probably only about a 20% chance, and it's late in the day. So most of your weekend will be nice. And then as we start to get into next week, we do start to warm it up just a little bit back into the 80s by Tuesday. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right here at our maps and our drive times coming in from the west side from State Road 267 through Brownsburg, the I-465 ramps. No delays. It's a 7-minute commute at this early hour. Let's travel up to the northeast side right now. Get a live look from our INDOT traffic camera here at I-465 and I-69. Traffic in this area is traveling up to speed. We're scheduled to have some road work here in the northbound lanes, but it looks like everything is open at this early hour. We'll continue to keep a close eye on your commute and keep you updated.
Get ready for 5 straight days of racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The smallest cars will get the stage first. USAC's second annual BC 39 Midget Championship begins tonight. Last night, the drivers selected their spots in tonight's heat races. The laps will begin the process of compiling points and eventually fill the field for tomorrow's 39-lap feature race. Only 26 of the 90 cars will make the main show. Brady Bacon won last year's BC 39. He talked to us about the pressure to perform well from the start.
I feel like we have, as good equipment and as good a shot as anybody. So very confident that we should have a shot to put ourselves in position to win again. And but you can't afford a mistake. Any little mistake or mechanical failure or anything is going to bury you so far that you can't overcome it. So I got confidence. My guys have been working hard on everything, and I'll do my job now.
The gates at IMS open at 3 p.m. both today and tomorrow. Cars will be on the track starting around 5. Racing starts a little after 7. Tonight wraps up with the Stoops Pursuit. The main event will be tomorrow night as the top 26 racers or drivers race for the title. You can still get tickets for both nights, and our Dave First will be live at the track tonight on the news at 6.
Hurricane Dorian making its way up the east coast of Florida this morning. Just after the break, how one animal park is preparing for that storm.
Plus, there's not much work being done on a new upscale hotel in Speedway this morning. Download the RTV6 app right now to read more about the delay in construction and when work will resume. We'll be right back.
To care, this changes everything.
An unexpected visitor showing up for practice and ready to play a game of football at the University of North Dakota. School officials believe this moose got in through a gate that was left open for football practice. North Dakota Game and Fish officials identified the animal as a female. It was determined she posed no threat to students. Officials waited until campus was quiet and dark to help the animal to safety. She wanted to utilize those long legs. Maybe they needed a kicker. Well, Florida Animal Park Gatorland in Orlando is getting ready for Hurricane Dorian.
Yeah, more than 2,000 American alligators live at Gatorland. It also features other animals, including exotic birds, panthers, and bobcats, which are being secured in buildings. Mark McHugh, the CEO of Gatorland, explains what will happen with the alligators when that area starts to feel the impacts of Dorian.
Alligators and crocodiles? Well, folks, they've been around for 75 million years. That ain't their first rodeo with nasty storm. They actually feel that barometric pressure changing. They'll get in the water. They go down, sit underwater. They've learned to ride out big storms by just sitting on the bottom of the ponds, come up with their nostrils and take a little breath every now and then. So don't worry about it. All of our animals are going to be safe here at Gatorland. Rest assured, if you see an alligator swimming down your street or sitting in your pool, it ain't one of ours, all right?
All right.
Well, some park staff members are staying at Gatorland during the storm to assess and repair any damage once the winds drop below the tropical storm levels. I know he's saying the gators are going to be fine, but I'm thinking, what if you're a neighbor to Gatorland so they can't get out of here?
Those gators?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like they're going to go anywhere.
Out?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They're not going to get wound, spun up and end up in your backyard?
Like Sharknado? You're thinking of Gator Cane?
Hey, it ain't one of theirs, that's for sure. So, who knows? All right, outside right now, we're in the process of dropping the humidity here this morning. So as the day goes on, it gets more and more comfortable. The lower humidity already in places where the temperatures are in the 60s, such as Logansport, Zionsville, and Lafayette, where we're still in the process of dropping the humidity. We're in the 70s in Bloomington as well as Indianapolis. So throughout the day today, it turns into a beautiful afternoon for us with mostly sunny skies and a high temperature that tops off at 77 degrees.
Todd, thank you. A car slams into 5 people, including a baby and 2 toddlers, walking on a quiet street in Boone County. Ahead on Good Morning Indiana, how a Good Samaritan stopped the hit-and-run suspect.